When historians and anthropologists look at cultures from the past, one of the first things that they look at is the art, and the process of making paintings is an almost magical, alchemical process. It brings to bear the full spectrum of humankind's interests and depths. It's about emotions, concepts, philosophies, and sometimes just about color, shape, texture, and the formal elements, such as line, rhythm, movement, and the like. But making paintings is not quite as easy as lay people think. It's a very complex and involved process. It's not just about making pictures of things. It's about expressing a deep inner spirit, which the artist deems important and is intrinsic to the artist. It's easy enough in the long run to make pictures of things, but to imbue those pictures of things, or the paintings, with that special depth of spirit and an emotional quality which is important to people and means something to people is much more difficult. And it's important for those people who make paintings, the artists, to know how to bring to bear those more in-depth aspects, the things that go beyond just picture making. Essentially, artists need to learn what makes the painting good and what makes the painting last. That is, what makes the painting remain good for years. Of course, the artist can approach the painting however they want to. There's nothing written in stone about that, but there are certain tried and true methods which help to maximize getting these ideas of depth and lasting quality into the painting. And these different methodologies can be boiled down and distilled to a simple, basic working process. This basic process is not a formula, but a distillation of working methods which have evolved over time. This process began back in the time of the Renaissance in the 1400s and 1500s in Europe, and has been used successfully by artists ever since. An overview of this process includes preparation, execution, and finishing. Preparation includes all aspects of getting ready to make the painting, from inspiration to getting to know your subject to organization of the composition. Pierre Bonnard, an artist known as a post-impressionist, painted in the late 1800s and early 1900s. It's said that Bonnard never did a painting without doing a preparatory sketch. Pablo Picasso, an artist of the 20th century, is considered to be one of the greatest artists of all time. It's said that for his painting, Demoiselle d'Avignon, he did approximately 600 preparatory drawings. One of the tried and true methods of preparation is doing a series of thumbnail sketches. Thumbnail sketches are a series of small exploratory drawings on the same page. Having them on the same page allows you to compare the drawings that you do. When making the thumbnails, the basic idea is to explore as many different compositions as you can. This means the organization of the shapes on the two-dimensional plane. Since every form becomes a two-dimensional shape when it's put on the painting, we organize by shapes. And don't forget, take the shapes to the edge of the painting. This connects the internal forms to the perimeter of the painting, which creates an architecture or a structure. The main idea is to organize the shapes in a way that makes a pleasing composition. Once you've found the individual thumbnail that you like best, it's time to begin the actual painting, and the core of the basic process begins. It's important to understand that the basic working process is about working from big to small. This is the same thing as working from structure to details. So what we try to do is do the overall picture composition first, and then add the finer things and the details. The basic process generally starts with drawing, which is also composition. The most common second step is to put in the basic tones. Often the next step, step 3, is to put in the darks. These are the basic structural darks that reveal the basic form. Step 4 is the lights. Like with the darks, these are the structural lights. In actual fact, the darks don't have to be put in before the lights can be put in before the darks. This is just a matter of personal preference. Step 5 is generally the nuances. These are the more subtle things that happen in addition to the basic structural lights and darks. Step 6 is the even subtler things, the basic details. Step 7 is the final step, the harmonization of everything. This has to do with correcting anything that is amiss. We want to check everything again, the tones, the darks and lights, the nuances, and the details. This is to make sure everything is in harmony. It cannot be stated too strongly that this is not a formula. Paintings are not created by formula. This is simply one idea, one process of doing a painting. You have to remain present and adaptable. Adapt the process if necessary to your own purposes for the kind of painting you're making. Here's the same basic process, adapted somewhat and applied to a more expressionistic painting. Another important, in fact indispensable part of the basic process is getting back and looking at your painting from a distance on a regular basis. An important part of painting is the relationships of things in the painting. And stepping back allows you to see the relationships that are taking place. This is the only way you can see the painting as it's developing as a whole. Adaptations some artists use are to skip right to the lights rather than doing the drawing. This allows you to see more easily the relationships the lights create and the patterns they make. In the same way, some artists skip the drawing and go right to the tones, capturing the composition with tones rather than lines. This basic process can be used to good effect by realist artists. Yet it's also very effective for expressionists, abstractionists, or non-representationalists.